No animal on Earth buries its dead. Not elephants, not chimps, not wolves. But around 100,000 years ago, someone dug a hole, placed a body inside, and covered it with flowers. No one taught them to do this. No survival advantage, no logical reason. So why did they do it, and why can't we stop? Let's start with what other animals actually do when one of them dies, because it's not nothing. Elephants will stand over a dead family member for hours. They touch the body with their trunks. They come back to the bones years later and run their trunks across them in silence. Crows hold what scientists call funeral gatherings. Dozens of them will surround a dead crow, calling loudly, staying close, sometimes for half an hour. Chimpanzee mothers have been observed carrying their dead infants for weeks, refusing to let go, grooming the body long after it has started to decompose. So, animals grieve, or at least they do something that looks like grief. But not one of them has ever done what that person did 100,000 years ago. Not one of them has ever dug a hole. That distinction matters more than it sounds, because digging a grave is not an emotional reaction, it's a plan. It requires you to look at a dead body and decide that leaving it here is not enough, that something must be done, that this person, not this body, this person deserves to be placed somewhere specific, in a specific position, surrounded by specific things. That is not grief, that is meaning. In 1933, archaeologists entered a cave called Qafzeh in what is now northern Israel. Inside, they found burials dating back roughly 100,000 years. One of them was a young woman placed deliberately on her back. Her hands were positioned on her abdomen. At her feet, the skull of a wild boar arranged with its antlers facing upward. This was not a body thrown into a pit. Someone thought about how she should look. Someone placed that skull there for a reason we will never fully know. And Qafzeh wasn't alone. Across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, burials from this period share something strange. The bodies are almost always in the same position, legs drawn up, arms folded or placed deliberately. Many are oriented in a specific direction. Some have red ochre, a pigment made from ground iron oxide, applied to the bones or skin. Ochre has no preservative function. It doesn't protect the body. It doesn't mask the smell. The only thing ochre does is change how the body looks. Someone was decorating the dead. Think about what that requires from a brain. To decorate a dead person, you have to understand that they were a person. You have to hold a concept of who they were, separate from the body you're looking at now. You need a before and an after. You need time. You need identity. And most critically, you need to believe that what you do to this body still matters to the person who used to live in it. That is an extraordinary cognitive leap. No other species has made it. But here's where it gets more complicated. Humans weren't the only ones who might have crossed that line. In Shanidar Cave, in northern Iraq, archaeologists found Neanderthal remains dating to around 60,000 years ago. One of them, labeled Shanidar 4, was surrounded by dense clusters of ancient pollen. Pollen from yarrow, cornflowers, hollyhock. The analysis suggested that bunches of flowers had been placed around the body before burial. A Neanderthal, buried with flowers. 60,000 years ago. The Shanidar discovery sparked a debate that still hasn't been settled. Some researchers argue the pollen was carried in by burrowing rodents or blown in by wind. Others say the concentration and placement are too deliberate to be accidental. But even the skeptics agree on one point. The body was placed there intentionally. The position was deliberate. Whether the flowers were part of it or not, a Neanderthal community chose to put one of their own in the ground. And that changes the question entirely. This wasn't something only the smartest humans did. This impulse, to treat the dead as if they still matter, might run deeper than our species. It might be something that emerged in multiple branches of the human family tree, independently as brains reached a certain threshold. The threshold where you can look at a body and feel that the person is still somehow there. But maybe the burial that says the most isn't the oldest one. It isn't the most elaborate. It's one found in a cave called Panga ya Sayedi in coastal Kenya. In 2017, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a child, roughly 3 years old, approximately 78,000 years old. The child had been placed in a shallow pit. The head was resting on what appears to have been a pillow, something perishable, long gone, but the position of the skull only makes sense if something soft was underneath it. The body was curled tightly, legs drawn up, the way a child sleeps. The researchers who found it gave the child a name, Mtoto. It means child in Swahili. Someone 78,000 years ago lost a child, and instead of walking away, they dug a hole. They laid the child down gently. They put something under its head so it would be comfortable. Comfortable, as if comfort still mattered, as if sleep still mattered, as if the child might wake up. That is what burial is. It's not logistics, it's not sanitation, it's not tradition. It is the refusal to accept that a person has stopped being a person just because they've stopped breathing. Every civilization on Earth, independently, in every climate and on every continent, arrived at the same conclusion. The dead must be honored. The body must be placed with care. Something, flowers, ochre, tools, food, a pillow, must go with them. Because whatever death is, it is not nothing. The next time you stand at a grave, or leave flowers on a stone, or sit in silence at a funeral, understand what you're actually doing. You're not following a custom. You're repeating the oldest human act that has no survival purpose. An act that started in a cave 100,000 years ago when someone looked at a body and decided, for the first time in the history of life on this planet, that the dead deserve more than disappearing. No animal has ever done this. Only us. And we've never stopped. That's all for today. If you want more, subscribe or donate to fund the next video.